the Cowboys have become one of the more popular franchises in the NFL and in sports in general. It's because they've had a lot of firsts. When Jerry Jones bought the team in 1989, he became the first owner, a first-time owner, a first-time GM, and a first-time president, hiring a first-time head coach. Well, the Cowboys are continuing to do that, but it's not hiring. They partnered with a cryptocurrency company called Blockchain. Does Jerry Jones know what cryptocurrency is? No, most likely not. But most likely they went to him and said, "Hey, Mr. Jones, we have this thing called cryptocurrency that the NBA has. We want to be the first team to implement it in the NFL. Can you help us with that?" And Jerry went and said, "Where do I sign?" And that's what happened. I don't think it's crazy. I think it's kind of refreshing to see this in the NFL, especially with sports betting and all. Former Cowboy head coach Jason Garrett has a new job. He is now, if you saw, this past weekend, you will know this. He now works for NBC for the USFL as a TV analyst. Jason Garrett, smart guy, went to Princeton, figured he would still be a coach. This is what you should do if you're a fired coach. Go into TV for a year or two, and then come out and become a head coach again. That's what you do. He went, became the offensive coordinator, got spit out after 2 years. Now, a TV analyst. He's a fluent talker. I think this job suits him. He still wants to be a coach, but right now he's coaching a whole new audience. He's coaching the fans of football in the USFL. The Raiders and star quarterback Derek Carr have agreed to a 3-year contract worth about $121.5 million. Making Carr having Carr until through the 2025 season. Making him the longest tenured quarterback in the AFC. Now, erase what I just said. Because what I just said was this. It's a 3-year contract. Yes, he's not the highest paid. He's not even the top 10 highest paid. I believe he's the top 12, top 15 highest paid player. Not because he's not good. Because this contract has a lot of what is called fluff in it. Which just all it means is we're paying you 30. Every other quarterback's making 40 or 40 plus. You're getting 30. So if we still leave that door open if we want to cut you. It's heavily incentive based. So I think they should keep Derek Carr for the long term, but this leaves the door open and say, hey, if we want to let you go, we can. Deshaun Elliott signs with the Detroit Lions on a 1-year contract. Massive injury last year. This was going to be the only contract he could get anyway. And finally, Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was on a podcast. Now, I don't understand this podcast entirely because this podcast goes all over the place. But if you've ever watched a court video or movie or show, you understand what I'm going to say. When we say you're leading the witness or badgering the witness, it means just basically trying to force the guy to say the answer you want or help him along with the answer. Well, that's what happened. He said, the guy who actually starts the podcast, I don't remember his name, asked Urban, but you did know who Aaron Donald was. Yeah, of course you did, because it's Aaron Donald, why wouldn't you? And then Urban Meyer was like, well, yeah, I knew. If I didn't know, that would be idiotic if I didn't know who Aaron Donald was. let me tell you something. It's not the fact that he didn't know who Aaron Donald was that bothered me. Even though he is probably the best player in the game on the defensive side of the ball, that's no question. It's the fact of I got mad was I was mad because the response after he's like, well, he went to Pitt. He didn't go to an Alabama, Clemson, Florida, an Ohio State, and that just meant he wasn't good. He can't be good. He didn't go to an Alabama, which Urban Meyer said to Vic Fangio earlier in that season. He's like, every week it's like facing Alabama. Duh. Absolutely. How many Alabama players are in the NFL? A lot. Because Alabama has that reputation that if you sign here, chances are you're going to the pros. That's what it means. There's a very high chance. Because you wouldn't be here if there wasn't. But it's not that. He then said, and even if he said anything else, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Urban Meyer said that the reason he was fired was because he didn't win enough. He's not wrong, but he ain't right either. He's not. He said, the reason why I was fired was because we didn't win enough. In this game, you have to win enough. Well, yes. But there was a lot of off-the-field stuff that even if you don't admit to, we have documentation of it somewhere. The incident at the chop shop. The incident that made Marvin Jones leave for a while and come back and then get in an argument with you. The incident of you not getting on the plane and staying in Ohio, where you were a coach for their college campus. The kicking your kicker in the leg, saying make your kicks. This is, you can't, if I went and said that Urban Meyer, if Urban Meyer would have been hired and I said this would happen, no one would have believed me. Because it's something like you put in a book. It's not supposed to be real in any shape or form. And yet somehow it happened. And somehow Shad Khan just allowed it to happen. Didn't give him any consequence or anything like that. No, I get it. He wanted to have a coach there for the long term and not fire a coach 1 year in. I get it. But that was terrible. He was not a good coach. He took James Robinson out of the game. He drafted Travis Etienne, even though James Robinson became a 1,000-yard rusher. Travis Etienne gets hurt because of your practices that became too aggressive, which is probably the lowest on the totem pole for me. You take James Robinson out because he fumbles, and then you have your rookie quarterback come up to you and say, why is he not in the game? And then say, it's not my responsibility. It's on and on and on. There's too much BS going on. I'm happy he was fired, but this is what the last thing that got me. I'm going to grab this because I put this down. He said the defense was good. The offense was bad. Actually, Urban, your offense was better than your defense. Your offense was 20th in the league. Your defense was 27th in the league. You couldn't stop anybody. Your offense couldn't score, but at least they did their best. Your defense couldn't stop anybody. Your defense was terrible. Miles Jack looked like he was just a guy who worked like at a Wendy's or something. He couldn't do anything. I'm sorry, but it makes no sense. Why were you a head coach? It makes no sense. You shouldn't have been there. And that's all I can say, because if I say anything more, I'm going to have a heart attack. I will lose my job. I can't afford to do that.